Well, hello, my name is Regan.
I'm Abby.
Wow.
I thought you were going to introduce me.
No, you can introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Regan,
And I'm Abby.
and this is
Marriage
Marriage
with
with
the
the Strands. Today's going to be a pretty quick one. I just wanted to come on here and introduce ourselves. We are obviously Regan and Abby. We've been married going on 12 years, and we're just wanting to give a little bit of insight into marriage and kind of our perspective on how to help better your marriage. Now, I will say we are not experts in this. We have not taken like this extensive marriage counseling courses. We're not doctorates or anything like that nature. We are just
We just have a good marriage.
yeah. It's not
And
perfect, but it's a good
we
one.
know a lot of people who have both good and bad marriages and have learned a lot from both. So we thought we would share the insight that we have learned over the years.
Couldn't have said it better. So, with that being said, I feel like let's give one example of things that you have seen in marriage that you're like, I wouldn't bring that into ours, and then I'll do one.
Okay?
Okay.
So one of the very first things that we struggled with in our very, maybe a week of marriage, I think it was,
I'm curious where you're going with this. This is good. Okay, go ahead.
was how to argue.
Yep.
So, my understanding was if you were going to have a disagreement or had a disagreement, whatever, it was loud. It was very boisterous. Like the hands had to be going and the arms had to be going, and had to stomp your feet up the stairs to make your point. And he said, "No, we aren't going to do that in our marriage." So. It was a little bit of a learning curve for me, especially because he's very calm-natured. You'll learn this, but he's very calm-natured.
Thank you.
And so for him to just have a calm discussion with you on how to solve something is very easy for him, I think.
Well, okay, but let's. It is true. That is true. But that doesn't discard the fact that you are very full within your right to be upset or mad,
Sure.
or to be angry at your spouse. But there is no reason that you need to yell, call names. There's just no reason for that, because all that does is automatically put up walls, and nobody wants to have a conversation when they feel threatened or being attacked, and then that's when
heard.
Or not heard.
Yeah.
So in my world, I have seen and been around marriages where those are the results. You just get yelled at, or names are being called, and things are just, they're not set up for success. Whereas I've chosen the fact, it's that old saying, if you're not going to say anything nice, don't say anything at all, So definitely go take that time, go away for a bit, clear your head, clear your thoughts, get out what you need to say out, not to that person, but come back and have a conversation, because you shouldn't go to bed with tension between you or an argument brewing. Not saying that we've never done that, but we've definitely made it a goal to make that a point, that we don't go to bed without at least having a conversation and getting that argument out.
It's extremely minimal.
Very, very.
I can only think of one time.
I was going to say, I can only think of one time.
Yeah. That we've had a disagreement, couldn't get it solved, and said, let's just go to sleep and we'll talk about it tomorrow.
So, but at least there was a conversation. We communicated to each other.
Yeah.
That, hey, we cannot get this solved tonight. We are going to go to bed. So communication is key. Yeah. I would say, for mine, grocery shopping.
Well, we didn't talk about how to solve it.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's fair. So, how do you solve it?
Instead of screaming and yelling and having lots of name calling and stomping your feet to make a point, I guess you did say, take the time to walk away, go for a walk outside, go to the garage, go to your kitchen, beat the dough, whatever you got to do, get it out. And then when your mind is clear and you can truly have that conversation, come back to have the conversation.
Did you say beat the dough?
I did. Let's be
Just
real.
making sure I heard that right.
Ladies these days are making a lot of bread.
No, that's fine. That's cool.
Go beat that dough.
Oh my gosh.
Not your spouse.
Hey, you know what? Just do me first. Stop saying beat the devil. I don't know if it has the right sound to it, but it's. I'll let you have that one. It's fine. And guys, do make it a very intentional thing to hear your woman. Um, there is this, I mean, connotation that guys just we hear but we don't listen. I really take the time to listen to what your spouse is saying to you. What is she saying that she needs from you? Um, guys, we are simple creatures, and so it could be as
Give them
simple
one task.
for us. It could be as simple as for us is like, hey, you left the toilet seat up. Like, cool, I'll put it down. But there could be a myriad of things for her that tip that iceberg for her. So just be intentional about sitting in that moment and listening with her, whether you're right or you're wrong. Just sit and listen. All right.
Yep.
Cool. I would say for mine, when we first were married, it was grocery shopping. Like, so obviously you're bringing two individuals who had two different upbringings together.
Yeah. Two different ways of eating.
Two different ways of eating, two different ways of shopping, and neither way is the correct way. When you guys
You'll
go
find
shopping,
your
yeah, it's like
rhythm.
you have to find a shopping rhythm that works together for
Yeah.
you guys. Because I was like, why are you buying like super cheap or like things that are not good for you? And she's like, why are you buying super expensive or things that it's going to take a long time to make? And that's just how we were brought up. So, not that I'm saying all of our shopping trips were like arguments or fights, but I'd be like, why are you putting it in the basket? And I have to work on that still. Still to this day, I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you putting this in the basket? But I have to remind myself, this is our house now. So, like, what our house chooses to do in grocery shopping is what our house chooses to do. Now, she doesn't like when I buy Pop-Tarts. I had to cut those back. They are not good for you. But I don't like it when she buys, what are those like weird pizza thingies that they're like, the Garbazos, or is that what they called? They're like pizzas, and you're like, they're like, it's not even pizza. They're like manufactured, like,
Pizza rolls?
no, like they're in those little bags, and they're like pretzels are wrapped around them, and there's like this stuff with pizza stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking
What are
about.
they called?
They're combos.
Combos. Horrible snack for you to eat. It even says like pizza, an artificial like flavoring, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
that is. But again, I digress. We've helped each other out because I can't eat pretzels. I can't eat Pop-Tarts.
All the time.
We're working on her not eating the combos. That's what we're getting. But
Or as much chocolate.
yeah, I haven't cut you off that one yet. You keep doing you.
No. But working on getting it better.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Better healthy habits.
And I would say one of the things that I think has really triumphed for us in our marriage is the stronghold of communication.
Yeah.
Early on in our relationship, when we were first dating, a lot of our relationship was built on communication.
That's all it was.
Yeah, this is true. This is because we lived in two separate states while dating for 6.5 years, long distance. So,
Yep.
yeah.
It
But
is what it is.
I would say our biggest, I guess, victory for our marriage has been communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been able
We
to
became
communicate.
friends first.
Right. Well, because
And then built off that foundation
right.
in our marriage to get to where we are.
And so, but would you say, because of that friendship and having that stint of communication being built up, is why we have such communication now?
Yes. Because it didn't start off as a straight out the gate physical craziness as a lot of relationships are today.
Yeah.
You know, they don't take the time to get to know the person before they end up in whatever else. You know, because you just physical changes continually, whereas you know, our mental stability is going to change too, but we still have to be able to communicate what it is that we have going on. Because even on a daily basis, for me, you know, being a stay-at-home mom, you know, that changes for me daily. And if I can't communicate to you when you get home what it is that I've gone through all day and that I just need 5 minutes to myself,
It's real. That's real.
then we're in trouble. Or vice versa. If you can't communicate to me when you get home, hey, I've had a hard day, I can't give you 5 minutes yet. I need 5 minutes. You know, that too.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and I think it also helps that, you know, the way that we've communicated.
Mm.
For example, you know, there are times where she is frustrated with me. She doesn't yell at me. You don't yell at me. You tell me, hey, I asked you to take out the trash like 4 times. Why is the trash still there? Now, again, this is back to men just being simple creatures. I was given like 6 other tasks, and I can only handle one task at a time. And then I have the children that are involved. This is why they say,
They're very
you know,
distracting.
if you want something to get done, you give it to a busy mom. It's because she will figure out how to prioritize and get that done. I am working on that. That is something I am going to work on. But it's the communication. And she didn't yell at me. She just told me, she's like, hey, I really need your help in getting this done. So I work on that. And then the same for me when I'm like, hey, why are we living in 6 projects right now? Because her thing is projects. She loves
to
her
have a good
projects.
project.
But and that's not bad. It's just when we have 6 of them
Timing.
that are all like incomplete. That's when I'm like, hey, we gotta finish one, so we can go finish the other one. And it's like, again, talking through these things. So yeah, I would say the biggest champion and the biggest award for our marriage, or winning points in our marriage, would be communication.
Agreed. I feel like I've got water on the back of my arm.
Are you sweating?
I don't know. I don't feel like it. It's weird.
That's good. But I would say in a marriage is really built on 2 things: respect and love.
And communication.
Well, okay, 3 things, and communication. So I'm saying it again. So marriage is really built on 3 things: respect, love, and communication.
Yeah.
If a man knows that he is respected, women, if you can show respect to your husbands, really, and I know this can be hard at sometimes, whether he deserves it or not, when you can show him that respect, he will in turn love you the way that you should be loved. And it's a full cycle. And then men, if you can love your wife faithfully, religiously, like without unfaltering love, if you can just love her for who she is, shortcomings and all, she will give you the most respect that you deserve because you are hers. And in all of that, that's wrapped around the communication. If you can communicate the things that, hey, I need this from you.
Yeah. I think, too, kind of coming back to both of those, love and respect, you know, no, they may not be what you would think as worthy of those things, but find a way to respect them in vice versa, because the husband has to respect the wife too.
Yep.
You know, and what is going on in their daily,
Right.
you know. But I think that it's important to, in your respect, having that, the way that you discuss things, that communication kind of comes full circle, that it's having a respect for your spouse and not yelling at them and being, you know, very one of these, you know.
It's very animated.
Yes, that's the word, animated, in your discussion.
Right.
Then you can get a lot further because you can understand what the other one needs and how to accomplish whatever it is, you know, and having that respect for each other, you know, I think that makes you want to listen.
Yeah.
And in turn, you grow more of a love for your spouse in that, because you know you're respected and that you're going to be heard, so you can feel comfortable enough
Right.
to be vulnerable and saying whatever it is that's going on.
100%. So I think in wrapping this up, I would say if you take away anything from this, the 3 ways to have a successful marriage is to have love, respect, and communication. Everything else between that, as far as bills, groceries, finances, the way that you raise your kids, the way that you discipline your kids, like all of that can have conversations and can be talked about, and really should be talked about before you even get married. So that way you guys are on the same page. But in your relationship and when you guys are getting married, or when you guys are in your marriage, if you can have love, respect, and communication, those 3 things can help you have a fantastic marriage.
And if you're struggling, start over.
Yeah.
Nobody says that you have to, you know, start from wherever it is right now. Like, oh, things are terrible. Okay, let's go right back to the beginning. Where did it go wrong? At what point did I lose respect for you?
That's
Did
good.
I lose a love for you? At what point am I feeling differently for you, and why? Because then you can, just like with anything, if you're starting a new job, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to start over. Well, what went wrong in the last job? Well, let's change that in this one so that I can be successful in that. And I think that changes a lot for a marriage because it goes in cycles. Each marriage, each season, I think whether you're just freshly married or you're new parents or you're seasoned parents or now you're empty nesters, I think each season of that, you and your relationship change each time. And so you're not really staying in the same spot
No.
like the whole time. That person's going to change. And in that change, you have to communicate, is this a good change? Is this a bad change? And how do we make it to where we can both agree on these changes moving forward?
I mean, that's why I married her. Right there. That's saved myself a lot. So, and I think for those of you who are dating or engaged or looking for your person, I think, and people might disagree with me on this, I think it's okay to make a list. But here's before you judge me on this. I made a list for my person, and I say a list as in like things that I would want in my wife. What would I want in my spouse?
I did too, by the way.
Yeah, don't be married to this list. Okay, so here's why I say this is because I assumed, and just because of the people that were around me and my upbringing and just my circles that I walked in, I assumed that I was going to marry a dancer. She can dance when she's with me, so got you. I figured I was going to marry a dancer, someone that was blonde-haired and blue-eyed, just because I'm from Texas. That's what we got out here. Someone that was going to be into like the creative arts and stuff like that I am, and just all these different things. But I realized, just because those were the things that I was invested in and those are the things that were my hobbies, doesn't necessarily mean I needed somebody that was just like me. Because in turn, what I got was someone who is creative in a separate way. She loves to garden. She loves her sewing and her crafts. She loves baking. And believe me, I like to eat.
We're grateful for that.
Man, I like to eat. I was a really tiny guy until I married her. Now I'm just like a really stacked guy.
But I didn't start out that way.
No, that's true. She had to get to that way. 'Cause actually, I like to cook. She likes to bake.
Yeah. When we first got married, he did all the cooking.
That's right, ladies. Get you a man that can cook.
I didn't cook. I didn't do any of that.
That's okay. We worked on you a lot.
I learned.
We worked together a lot. So, and there were days where I was like, hey, we can't go out and eat, and I can't cook tonight. So you are gonna have to like take the helm and do this thing.
Spaghetti.
And even that, we had to work on the spaghetti. It was all a growing process. It's fine.
Yeah.
Where's I going with this? Oh. But in finding your person with a list. But what I did put on my list, realistic expectations. But I did say I wanted somebody that was adventurous, someone that I could dress her up, take her to the city, but she could also dress down and just get down there with the mud with the boys. I wanted someone who was sporty and athletic, but also someone who's a little bit girly. And it's like these are things, right? But God gave me somebody that was that and more. So with Abby, there is everything that I wanted and more. But it's not the things that I think that I wanted. It was the things that God knew that I needed. And I look back now and I'm like, if I would have had a person that just met all of my expectations on my list, and life would look a whole lot different because they would be into the things that I am. And that I'm a lot. It's okay. I can fully admit there's a lot here. But she is what I needed to help me bring down my a lot and find my grounded place. But on the same side, what was your list?
I had a very long list.
I'm ready. Let's talk about your list.
No, for example, things that I put on my list were like, I didn't really do a lot of physical like appearance things because I wasn't really sure. Like I knew I had a type, or I thought I had a type, which he wasn't.
Short, dark, and chocolate. You know what I'm saying? It's fine.
But I had like loves family, loves kids, loves animals, loves to be outside. Was really into music. Somebody who was very creative in that way, and he met all of those and then some. You know, like I wanted somebody who was a drummer because I liked their personalities, which he does play drums, but he also is a guitarist and a keyboard person and like sings and everything.
Oh, babe.
So a lot of other things too. But on the other hand of that, like I never thought I'd enjoy anything in the city. Like, nope. Whereas, you know, he opened my eyes to a lot of areas where it's fun to go in the city. It's not all bad, you know, it's not all crazy. And
I mean, I think so much so in the 12 years that we've been now married, I'm gonna have to kind of revert her back to a country girl. She's gotten her creature comforts here in the city with her. I'm gonna say it, with her Starbucks, with her Target.
Targets. Woo!
Those aren't bad things. I'm just saying.
Nope.
When you are like 2 hours away and you're just out in the sticks, Starbucks and
where I
Target
grew
cannot
up.
save you.
That's where I grew up. We were
It's
out in
just the
sticks.
thing. No, but I'm not mad. I enjoy it.
No.
It's fun.
Yeah. But just things like that were important to me. You know, like my family was important. Kids were important. I'm an animal crazy person.
It's true.
So he had to be able to somewhat handle that. And
I'm working on that still.
and he does great.
I'm working on that. It's fine. It's fine. I like my dogs. I don't have any dogs yet for me, but that's for another conversation.
Yeah. I mean, so that's why I say, you know, have a list. He says have a list. But again, don't be married to it, because there may be things about your list that just gets blown out of the box, you know, and it becomes something totally different. And you don't even realize that years down the road, that's something that you loved. You know, I didn't know that I loved to bake as much as I do, but now I do. Whereas 12 years ago, if that was something on his list that he was married to and I didn't do it then, you know, we wouldn't be where we are now.
Cut that off real quick.
Yeah.
But I didn't, because it wasn't. It's fine.
But I also wanted us to be best friends.
Yeah.
And that's where we started on best friends.
And again, so we dated long distance, which that's a whole other conversation in and of itself.
6 years.
Yeah. We saw each other 3 times in that 6 years of us dating. So again, that's another conversation for another day. So if you want to hear that, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, do all the things. I gotta throw it in there somewhere. So that way somebody knows. But realistically, there is something significant about being able to build a relationship with your fiance, your spouse now at this point, you know, because I got to see her for who she is in her own element. Before, she was just jumping into mine, and vice versa, you know. And so I know that not a lot of people have that opportunity. And again, our situation as far as dating was completely different than everybody's. And don't get me wrong, girl was smoking hot. Like, I think I saw you on a MySpace picture, and I was like, oh
gosh,
my
we're gonna go back
gosh.
to MySpace.
Best friends. Be a best friend. Yeah, marry a best friend. Get to know each other. Our situation was different because we did long distance. I don't recommend long distance. It is hard. It is difficult. But I mean, really, what relationship isn't without its challenges? So, all that to say, like I said, to start out with a great relationship, with a great marriage, make sure it's centered around those 3 things: love, communication, and respect.
Lay a good foundation.
Yep.
Before you get into anything else.
Yep.
So we will be doing more of these podcasts and videos in the coming future, of not just on marriage, but on family, and kind of a little bit more about our family, because we've been married for 12 years, but we also have 3 kids, and
we're full-time RVing right now.
Yes, we're full-time RVing right now. We've done the tiny house living. We did that for 8 years.
Yep.
And like there's a lot that will be unpacked over the next few podcasts. But if you have any questions about marriage that or even our marriage that you would like to know about, or have issue that you are like, hey, I need some ideas on how to resolve these, comment below. And we will do our best to get back to you. Or if we don't have an answer, point you to some people who do.
Okay, great. Well, again, my name is Regan. This is my beautiful wife, Abby. And this has been Married with the Strands.
This has been Marriage with the Strands.
Yeah. This has been Marriage with the Strands.